Lou, what type of energy does Cam Bynum operate on? Like, does he ever walk in and have a bad day? I don't know. Like, I hear it's a cliche, but the dude just, I don't know. His vibes are different.
He does not ever have a bad day. He's always got a smile on his face. It's all about business. At the same time, he tries to make it fun for everybody. There's a reason why Cam is, one of the guys that we targeted in free agency. Can't say enough about how that all went down with Chris Ballard and his crew, man. It just made us a better team, and that's showing. Cam is not only a great player, but even a better guy. So super excited to have him.
And then one follow up on Cam. I know you talked a little bit right there about his work ethic and stuff, but sometimes I think when you make plays like he does and he has so much fun, people can kind of forget that side of it. But from a professional standpoint, how serious have you seen him take the game?
Oh no, he's very serious. He's along some of the better ones that I've ever had. He'll come in my office on Thursday and we'll sit down together and kind of go through the game plan and, just making sure he's got all his I's dotted and his T's crossed. And that's just what the type of pro that he is, kind of doubling down on everything. So he's doing a great job.
Joel.
Lou, when you look at the pass rush through the first 2 weeks, what sticks out?
I think first week, some pretty good things. I think last week, playing a really good team. Denver prides themselves, their good offensive line, their play actions and their keeper game off of the play actions. They do a really fine job. So, I think that there's some situations where we need to impact the quarterback a little bit better. And it's not always just the rush, it's coverage too, making the quarterback hold the ball a little bit. So I think we can all do better at a number of different things from this past Sunday. But having having guys just being in the right spots and getting some tighter coverage and maybe getting off a block quicker up front, that'll all play out into a better pass rush game for us going forward.
And
Hey Lou, when you're going up against a rookie quarterback like Cam Ward, do you do things differently? Do you have like a little file, schemes to baffle rookie quarterbacks? How do you do things different?
I wish it was that easy, but this guy's a talented player. He's played against two really good teams, two really good defenses in the Broncos and certainly the Rams last week. So he's seen a bunch of things thrown at him. And he'll his kind of his feel for things is you can see it growing week by week, and it's such a short season so far, only week three. But we have some things certainly that we try to do to keep the guys off balance. I think that the college game is so different from the NFL in terms of that part of it, and we'll try to show him some things that he hasn't seen, and but we try to do that with every quarterback. This guy's a super talented guy, and we know that we got our hands full on Sunday.
Thanks, Lou.
James or JJ, sorry.
Hey, Lou, from like a process perspective, when you're looking at an opposing quarterback, do you go to like, is the first thing you look at stats or is it tape?
I think it's always the tape. You can look at the stats; they'll give you somewhat of a picture, but at the end of the day, it's going to be, how's the guy processing, the coverages, and does he get the ball out of his hand quick and things like that. But I think you look, especially with younger guys, you look at the bigger picture of what, who they're going against, what the game is like in terms of the score. And so the stats can say one thing, but you want to look at the broader picture and see how he's doing against the opponents.
Specifically with Cam Ward, then, I mean, he's completing like 50% of his passes, but it seems like what you're saying is the stats don't really match the tape for him.
I don't think so. No, I mean, you see a super talented guy. I think you see a guy that's willing to, to take some chances, calculated risks, and force the ball down the field some. And I think that that's a part of any good quarterback. The guys that just play it safe never truly become, what you really want as a quarterback. Those guys are going to make some mistakes, especially early in their careers. But I see a guy that sees the field well. Is there things that he can clean up? Sure. That's everybody. But I see a guy that's, I feel like they've got a heck of a quarterback.
We'll do a few more here, James.
Lou, what was your assessment of X on Sunday, and perhaps what conversation did you have with him about his performance?
Yeah, I just think, we knew, with Mooney being down, that X's snaps would go up somewhat. And, I think we knew that it was going to take him a minute to get his legs underneath him. He had a lot of good plays on Sunday. Certainly everybody saw the ones that didn't go so well for him, but that's that position. That's that position in the NFL. I say it all the time. Everybody can see when a DB makes an error. It's very rarely does anybody on TV or in the stand see when a three technique gets out of his gap and a run gets through. Everybody can see when a corner has an error or makes a big or gives up a big play. So, he'll get his legs underneath him a little at a time. He's like I said, he had some really good plays that we were excited to see, and but certainly there's things he's got to clean up, and he knows that. He's a veteran guy. Can't give up the explosive play and certainly the penalties. So we'll clean all those up, and he'll just be better for it as the coming weeks will show.
And one follow up to that, how do you assess that stuff in real time? Like, a guy might be like, for example, he had the 3 penalties in 5 plays.
Yeah.
Do you just, I don't know, is the game so fast you can't really worry about it in the moment? Like,
Yeah,
how do
well,
you?
they're all in the same series, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So it's hard for
yeah.
me to go out there and say anything to them. I just want them to keep, I don't want those guys to worry about that. It's again, in the back end, it's always got to be a next play mentality. Because if they're worried about, well, I just gave up this, I just, had a penalty here, they're not going to be able to play aggressive and do the things we want them to do. So we're constantly preaching to those guys, hey, next play, move on. And that's what the great the great ones do. They move on from a maybe not such a great series or a bad play.
We'll go to last question, Kevin.
Lou, your guys' yards per carry alloved's been pretty high the first couple games. What are you seeing with your run defense?
Yeah, I think it's something that we're focused on this week for sure, and it's something that we got to put to bed early. A little bit in the first game was, let's play a lot of split safety and limit 10 and 17. So, specifically, the first call of the season was a total pass call. They end up running it, get 10 yards, and I would never do that in a normal situation. I just didn't want Tyreek to catch a slant, the first play of the game. So there is things that we have to improve overall at all levels up front, at the linebacker position and at the secondary spot. But it's something we're focused on. We certainly want to be up in the top 5 when it comes to run defense for sure.